if I told you that the enemy you're fighting isn't out there, not in the economy, not in the critics, not in the chaos of the world, but inside you? That the battle for your life is not a war of swords and shields, but of thoughts and beliefs, and the only thing standing between who you are and who you could become is your mind. Not the world, not fate, not luck, your mind. The greatest prison ever built isn't made of bricks or bars. It's constructed silently, invisibly, through thoughts we never questioned, through fears we never challenged, through beliefs we never chose. And unless you learn to control your mind, it will control you. It will take your potential and bury it under self-doubt. It will take your time and sell it to distractions. It will take your life and hand it over to fear. But if you learn to master it, truly master it, then there is no force on earth that can stop you. Because every great life, every revolution, every masterpiece, every empire began with one human mind, disciplined, focused, controlled. That is where power begins. On mindset and mental programming. From the moment you were born, your mind began recording not truths, but impressions. Not facts, but interpretations. Every word you heard, every reaction you witnessed, every emotion you absorbed became part of the script you now call reality. But here's the secret. Most of that script wasn't written by you. You were taught what to fear. You were told what to believe. You were conditioned what to expect from life. And so you walk the path of limitation, not because it is your destiny, but because it is familiar. Understand this. The mind is a machine. It does not care whether it enslaves you or sets you free. It simply follows the strongest signals, the ones repeated most, with the most emotion. That is how habits are formed. That is how identities are built. That is how lives are constructed. The successful, the truly great, they reprogrammed the code. They rewrote the software of their mind. They took what they were given, questioned it, destroyed it, rebuilt it. They stopped letting life happen to them and started creating life from within. Belief and identity. The mind will fight to prove whatever you believe, not because it's true, but because it wants you to stay consistent. If you believe you're not worthy of success, you will unconsciously sabotage it. If you believe wealth is evil, you will push it away. If you believe you are broken, every situation will become proof of that story. Belief is not passive. Belief is a command to the subconscious. It is the blueprint by which your life is constructed. Henry Ford once said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." But what he didn't say is this: you can choose what to think. You can choose the identity you live by. You can burn the script you inherited and write a new one built on purpose, not programming. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are what you decide to become. And until you choose a new belief with force, with repetition, with emotion, the mind will continue to run its old, outdated code. Clarity and vision. You cannot control what you cannot see. Most people are blind to their own thought patterns. They drift, pulled by winds they never acknowledge. They think they want success, but they haven't defined it. They think they want freedom, but they haven't imagined it. The mind cannot move toward fog. It needs clarity. The clearest minds create the clearest results. Think of Walt Disney, fired for lacking imagination, bankrupt, laughed out of town. But his vision was so vivid, so alive in his mind, that he made the world believe it too. He didn't build Disneyland with money. He built it with clarity. The money came after. If your mind is filled with noise, you cannot hear your own calling. You must cut away the clutter. Define your dream in detail. Imagine it until it feels more real than your current life. Because the subconscious doesn't know the difference between memory and imagination, it only responds to repetition and emotional intensity. Control your vision, or you will be pulled into someone else's. Discipline and focus. The most dangerous word in your vocabulary is later, because later becomes never, and never becomes regret. If your mind is not trained to act on command, to follow through, to focus, to finish, then all your dreams are just smoke. Intentions without discipline are hallucinations. Every successful mind is a focused mind. Thomas Edison didn't create the light bulb because he was a genius. He created it because he failed 0 times and didn't quit. His focus was more powerful than his obstacles. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is power. It is the ability to control your mind long enough to finish what you started, to do what must be done, especially when you don't feel like it. Because feelings lie, emotions fluctuate, but principles, those, are permanent. And here is a principle worth remembering. Success belongs to those who finish, and finishing begins with focus. Emotional control and reaction versus response. A weak mind reacts. A strong mind responds. You don't need more motivation. You need mastery over your emotional state. Because the truth is, your emotions are not commands. They are suggestions. They are echoes from the past. Signals fired by a subconscious that is still running on childhood wounds, unchallenged fears, and outdated survival mechanisms. You feel afraid. That doesn't mean you're in danger. You feel doubt. That doesn't mean you're incapable. You feel tired. That doesn't mean you're done. Your mind was designed to protect you from risk, not to prepare you for greatness. So if you are living by emotion, you are living by fear. And if you live by fear, you will never do anything extraordinary. Abraham Lincoln led a nation through civil war. Do you think he wasn't terrified? Do you think he didn't doubt himself? No, but he chose response over reaction. He chose vision over emotion. Emotional control is not about suppressing what you feel. It's about commanding it, guiding it, transforming it into fuel. Take fear and turn it into focus. Take anger and turn it into action. Take sadness and turn it into significance. You are not your feelings. You are the force that shapes them. The hidden saboteur, your subconscious programming. Here's the truth no one wants to admit. You are being manipulated every single day by your own mind. Your subconscious is not evil. It is ancient, primitive, predictable. It craves certainty, familiarity, patterns. It does not care if those patterns destroy your goals. It only cares if they feel safe. So, you self-sabotage. Not because you're weak, but because your subconscious is protecting an identity. You never chose one that was handed to you before you could say no. You procrastinate, not because you're lazy, but because deep down, success would challenge your comfort zone. You quit early, not because you're incapable, but because your subconscious believes failure feels safer than growth. This is not your fault, but it is your responsibility. Because here's the secret weapon. Your mind can be reprogrammed. Your subconscious will believe anything you tell it as long as you say it often enough and emotionally enough. That is how marketing works. That is how politics work. That is how religion works. That is how trauma works. And that is exactly how transformation works. If your mind can be programmed by accident, imagine what would happen if you did it on purpose. Visualization and repetition, building new mental pathways. The human brain is plastic, not in texture, but in adaptability. It rewires itself constantly. Every time you repeat a thought, a belief, or a behavior, you are carving a path through the forest of your mind. And over time, that path becomes a highway, a habit, an identity. This is how greatness is built, not in a day, but in the daily. Repetition is the architect of belief, and belief is the blueprint of behavior. Michael Jordan didn't visualize being the best once. He did it every single day, before practice, before sleep, before championships. He saw it until his subconscious could no longer distinguish between imagination and reality. And then he became it. You must do the same. Picture your goals in brutal detail. Imagine the feelings, the actions, the outcomes. Burn it into your nervous system like a ritual. Make it so familiar, so consistent, that your subconscious has no choice but to accept it as truth. If you don't plant the seeds of the life you want, your mind will keep growing weeds from the life you fear. Action, the great separator. Here's the dividing line between those who dream and those who do. Action. Action is how thoughts become form. It's how belief becomes reality. And it's the one thing your subconscious cannot deny. You can lie to yourself, you can affirm greatness all day long. But if your actions do not align, your mind will not believe it. Action is proof. Action is identity reinforcement. Action is the loudest signal you can send to your own brain. It tells the mind, this is who I am now. And here's the secret. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't even have to be big. It just has to be deliberate, daily, defiant. Because every time you take action, especially in the face of fear, you are rewiring the way your brain interprets that fear. You are flipping the script from this is dangerous to this is transformation. This is why most people never grow. They wait until they feel ready. But you won't feel ready. Your brain will scream at you to stay still, to stay safe, to stay the same. Do it anyway. That's how you take control. That's how you win back your life, one small, terrifying, powerful action at a time.